We love our children. We nurture them, we teach them, and we cherish them. We watch them grow and develop as they experience life's challenges at school and at home. As adults, we do our utmost to care for their physical and emotional well-being as they grow up. We want them to live a full and happy life. But around 1 in 10 young children experience mental health problems. They have emotional and behavioural difficulties, such as anger, violence and aggression, that interfere with their ability to cope with life's ups and downs. This film is the story of Daryl, an 11-year-old schoolboy who has been experiencing difficulties in his young life. It's also the story of his family and the people who are trying to help him.
Do you want to try and talk to me? Have you got something that you need to say to me?
Can I interrupt just a moment? A really easy way of thinking about how we feel sometimes is to show me, all right? So where was the feeling in your body? Where was it in your...
In my heart.
In your heart? Was your heart pounding?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's generally accepted that the sooner children like Daryl can get the help they need, the better. Teachers are very much on the front line of spotting when children are experiencing emotional difficulties in the classroom.
25. Is that the answer? Yeah. Put your hand where you think that's the answer that we're looking for.
Since I've started teaching, almost from the instance I walked into the school, I always had children who were on the brim of being statemented or had some kind of special need, and often there are over, 5 or 6 children who've got very specific needs in your classroom. When you have a child who you think, oh, there's something quite serious happening here, and I'm not the only person who should know about this, the first person I would approach would be the head teacher, because there's obviously going to be set procedures for various things in school that happened or the things that children have said.
The teachers are very good at identifying those children. We put in those strategies, and if we feel that we can't meet those needs of the children, I think it's really, really important that school acts very quickly, because I think with a child who has an emotional need or is unhappy or whatever, or is feeling very vulnerable, that actually time is of the essence.
In response to the growing numbers of primary school children being referred to their mental health services, the London Borough of Barnet set up a groundbreaking health and education initiative to try and tackle the issue. The Barnet Primary Project. A dedicated team of 7 mental health workers go into primary schools to work specifically with the children who have been identified as having emotional and behavioural difficulties. Their aim is to prevent these problems becoming more serious.
Do you think you could do me a little picture of your family?
Okay.
And while you're doing that, I could ask you to tell me more about your family, could I?
Okay.
OK, so what have you got? You've got a mum and a dad.
Well, initially, you've got to assess the child and see how they feel about being with an adult who they don't know, and you've got to make a relationship, and that's really important, that they feel you're not going to be too intrusive and ask too many questions about them until they're ready to talk.
Is he a cheeky little brother?
Yeah.
In what way? What does he do?
There are lots of ways of helping children solve problems through play as well and through artwork. But sometimes just simply getting the child to think about their own situations and stepping back from it and analysing it, breaking it down, helps a child to sort of think around a situation that previously they just felt happened.
The parent agrees, then I'll take it to school next week.
Since the Primary Project Team was set up in January 2004, they have received over 1,000 referrals from the 90 primary schools in the borough. 70% of the referrals are for boys.
Sounds like the school's doing a good job. Yeah.
They said they are very worried, and they were wondering whether we could do an assessment before September.
It's a great team of people. You know, we've all come from varied backgrounds. We've got teachers, social workers, counsellors, therapists, family therapists, psychologists. So although we were a generic team of primary mental health workers, we're actually from a multidisciplinary background, which is really useful. I mean, I approach it by speaking to parents about actually promoting mental health, and that personally I don't know anyone that hasn't got some issues at some time in their life with their emotional well-being. So I promote it, like that. It's about promoting a child's mental health and promoting their well-being, and that if we can have intervention early, then hopefully that will stop some of the issues when children get older.
Schools can be very adept at picking up the early warning signs that all is not well in the classroom with a particular child. However, some children manage to disguise the fact that there may be problems elsewhere.
I'd finished work and I was picking them up from school, and as soon as I saw Daryl, he just kicked off with me. I said hello, I'd got all the other kids with me, and he kicked off and called me a stupid bitch, and swore at me. And that was as we were walking out the school. And I kind of just stopped there and then in the middle of going out of the entrance of the school and said to him, enough's enough, I can't deal with this. I'm going to go and speak to your teacher, I'm going to go and speak to Miss Bowles, and I'm going to see what can happen.
Daryl I know well through football. He's in my football squad, he's the captain of the football team, and he's been the model child, model pupil, fantastic role model for teammates in the school team. I found him to be the most polite child. His parents came into school to tell us about his behaviour at home, and the initial reaction of his class teacher, deputy and myself was one of shock. But we know that things can be quite different at home for children, and we would want to help him even if he wasn't displaying those things within school.
The head calls in Danny Boyle from the team to make an assessment of the case. Danny carries out a classroom observation to try and find out if Daryl's difficulties are arising as a result of something in the school environment.
For him, school wasn't as difficult as perhaps I might come across for other children. The difficulties at home and the issues between them as a family was clearly impacting on his behaviour. Hence it came across as quite a different child in each situation. I understand he's very good in class. Is that right? Is he?
That's absolutely correct. I mean, if ever there was a child where I needed an errand to run or someone that was reliable, I would always choose Daryl. I mean, he's a bright boy. He's in top sets for everything.
Wow.
And particularly with numeracy, we're expecting a level 5 with him there. Right. He's very intelligent.
Have you been aware that there might be some problems at home?
Well, not at all, really. It was only when Mum actually came to see me and she explained what was sort of going on at home. I mean, I was, very shocked, because what I see of Daryl at school is, I could describe him as an angel.
One, I wanted it to go twice.
Daryl lives with his parents, Darren and Lisa, on a housing estate in North London. Lisa works part-time, 9 to 3, before picking up the children from school. Daryl's the oldest of 4 children. He has a brother and 2 sisters.
Daryl, as a child, as a baby, he was brilliant. He was so funny, and he was a good toddler and a good baby. It was only when he started being able to go out with friends and stuff, and he's kind of really aggressive. He's very rude to me. He bullies his brother.
No one's even asked where Jessica is.
He says horrible things to me. But I kind of find it hard for people to kind of get to listen to me, because he's an ideal pupil at school. He's fantastic at football. He's brilliant at his football team. And everybody likes him. Daryl's a really likeable child.
I used to smash things and have fights with my brother for no reason. Just start kicking off and start throwing things everywhere.
It's quite stressful. I find myself just not wanting to spend time with Daryl. I kind of would, if Daryl walks in a room and all the other children are in bed, if Daryl walks into a room, I'll kind of walk out of the room so that I don't have to have that confrontation with him, because I kind of find myself being a child and him kind of becoming the adult, because you kind of get scared to say things to Daryl because in case he kicks off. The other day he called me a whore and told me to go. He tells me he hates me quite often. He wishes that I weren't his mum, that he wants to go into foster care. He wants to live with other people. He's called me a bitch, and he's just called me every name that you can think of, really. And I really don't know what I've done to kind of make him feel like that. I'm not saying I'm not to blame. I do take responsibility for it as well as Darren does. You know, I know it's the way that you bring your children up and stuff. But I kind of think that Daryl's got a big part to play in the way he acts. You know, he's 11 and he knows what's right and wrong and what you can do and what you can't do.
It's Daryl's 11th birthday, but he's a little apprehensive about how his day is going to go. He's about to receive a visit from Danny at his home for the first time. After a couple of sessions with Daryl and his parents at school, Danny wants to try and find out about what's causing the problems at home. It's time for a meeting with Daryl and his mum.
I went along with the idea that I wanted to aid and assist communication between them as a family, and saw problems of communication as being the most significant factor. And it wasn't to blame or criticise the family. I just felt that they got into a lot of difficult and poor habits around their communication. And it was the miscommunication that was striking me most of all. In your own way, what do you think the problem is? What's the problem for you, Daryl?
I don't spend that much time with my mum and my dad.
Yeah, so why do you think that might be? What's your own thoughts about what the problem could be? Because the referral refers to you being quite angry and aggressive and having some tantrums, and how's that been?
Not sure.
Have you had any angry outbursts in the last few weeks, or is it more to do when you're at school? Or?
A few.
Right.
Do you know, I just don't think we know how to talk to each other.
Right.
I think that's more than anything, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think I've got all that anger up, and the kind of feelings that Daryl doesn't kind of care or want to be with me, so that's why we don't kind of talk anymore. We don't have that communication, do we, mate?
No. He asks really quick questions and just fire them at me, and it would give me hardly any time because he would want the answers really quickly, and I got really scared because I thought that he was going to ask me questions about my mum and dad, and I didn't want to really say them to anyone.
Just take a moment just to look at each other without saying any words. Okay. Do you want to just say a little bit about what you see now when you look at your mum? What do you see when you see your mum?
I'm not too sure.
Right, well, have a look. Just stick to the obvious. What can you actually see?
That she's smiling.
She's smiling. And what's it like when your mum smiles?
It makes me happy, but it's bothering me because I don't know what she's smiling for.
Right, okay. So what do you see when you see Daryl, your son?
I see my little boy, but I see him quite like he's got... I feel like he's putting a cover on his face to not show his true feelings.
Right.
Because I feel like he wants to say something to me, but he doesn't know how to say it. That's what I see when I see it. Look at him.
Right. So mothers have this canny knack sometimes of just kind of knowing what's really happening, don't they?
Yeah.
So, do you think your mum's right or wrong?
She's right.
Right. Is it something that you're prepared to say?
No.
No. So how are we going to get over that difficulty?
Not sure.
I got loads and loads of, well, I've got some suggestions. I got loads of suggestions that we might be able to use. One of them is that you could write a letter to Mum, or you could talk with me.
Can't you tell me what's the matter? Why? It's horrible not knowing you can't talk to me.
Yeah. I imagine it must be.
I don't even know why.
So what we've got to try and do is support each other to get over that hurdle. And I really want Daryl to get over that hurdle.
The meeting with Danny was kind of a shock because Daryl kind of broke down and cried, which he's never done before. Daryl never says sorry. Daryl never kind of cries and hugs me, and in that meeting Daryl flew himself at me and hugged me and cried, and it made me cry because I've never seen that before, you know. He's my little boy, he's my first child, you know, and I hate the fact that there's something that is bothering him and I can't deal with it.
My job is to keep thinking. If I've stopped thinking, it starts to break down. What I'm actually experiencing for myself is pretty much the same as what everybody else was experiencing, I imagine, which was a mixture of surprise, uncertainty about how to progress, while at the same time I'm thinking, well, we need to move through with this conversation. We need to be able to make that contact, be able to allow Mother and Daryl to get the things said that they need to get said with support and understanding.
I was really upset because I couldn't get out what I wanted to actually say because I didn't want to tell Danny about it. I just wanted to keep it in my mind and tell someone that I was really close to.
Okay, look at me. Come on. Do you know, I love you so much, Daryl, and I really need you to just tell me what is wrong so I can help you. Because we can do this together. Go on. Why? I'm scared. You're scared of what? What are you scared of? Tell me. No. Tell me what's wrong. Daryl. No. He obviously does have something that he needs to say, but doesn't know how to say it. And I just want to know. I just wanted to say to him, you know, just tell me. I just wanted to shake him, to be honest with you, and just say, look, please, just tell me what it is. I can't help unless you tell me what it is.
Daryl, would you be willing to try just to find another way of saying what you need to say? Okay. Because what I feel might happen is that you get to this point and then something can't be talked about or something can't be expressed about, and we might never. So now's the opportunity. I think in this case, we've got some clear difficulties in the family communication and relationship. I think if I wasn't intervening at this time, I think the family may be moving towards a family breakdown of some sort. I think at that point, then Daryl's behaviour at school might become much, much more difficult.
It's not only children, families and schools who can benefit from the work of the Barnet Primary Project. The health service can as well. The team's early intervention can prevent mental health difficulties from escalating and requiring more intensive work from the Children and Adolescent Mental Health Services, CAMS. They consult with family therapist Damien McCann once a month to discuss their cases.
They're a really important part of our service, and the fact that they're at the primary level means that they do quite a bit of gatekeeping in terms of dealing with things that might end up coming to us when we're much better resourced for the more complex, entrenched problems that may not be easily resolved at that sort of level.
This family was referred to me for an assessment. The school were very worried. We have systems in place that allow us to consult with other professionals who can all help us reflect on what we're doing and give us ideas with families when you get stuck, and also to help you express how the families and their situations are making you feel. And that allows you to then go back and carry on working with the family. I mean, we all need to get rid of our feelings just as the children do. And in that interview I discovered as much history as I could.
What I would hope to achieve is to offer some clinical input which might be helpful to their pieces of work. But in addition to that, I think we're also trying to give bits of our own training and specialism back to a service that performs a really important function. I agree with you that I think a referral to the Tier 3 CAMP service wouldn't be inappropriate. They sit at the interface of the school, the home and the mental health services. I think they've really enabled the schools and the families to think more clearly about which children might need early identification and to be picked up as quickly as possible. Because if you pick these problems up very quickly, you can deal with them very quickly. The longer they're left, the more difficult it becomes, the more entrenched things become. And, you know, children and young people can end up being set on a sort of route that really isn't helpful to their development.
So, they've set sail in what year?
We're not just about educating, we're about enabling children to feel happy about themselves. If they feel happy about themselves, then they will ultimately achieve in a good learning environment. So part of our role is to identify when children are unhappy about certain issues, be it some at home, some in school, some about their learning. So a good school, I think, will look for those points or have an environment where children can express how they feel and be confident that adults will help them. When children are referred to the Barnet Primary Project, parents are aware there's a problem, and once we can explain that there is somebody to help, children aren't going to be labelled or seen as different or special in some sort of way. Parents are very keen.
The word mental health is confusing, and I think it does put some parents off. I think it's really important to mention the fact that we're talking mental well-being alongside the word mental health. We're not talking about mental ill health. What we're really focusing on is the stresses that might go along with growing up and being in a school environment.
I've only met Danny like 2 times, really, but I kind of trust him. It's kind of weird to be able to know that you can trust someone after only meeting them 2 times, but I'm hoping, you know, he's going to help Daryl. So I kind of have to put my trust into Danny.
Just sit there. We missed last week because you were away in Paris. How did that go?
It was really good, but the best thing was the Eiffel Tower.
The Eiffel Tower?
Yeah.
So what did you learn about the Eiffel Tower?
That it weighed 7,000 tonnes.
Wow. So how have things been since our last meeting at your house?
They've been a bit better than what they used to be, because usually she's like, if I'm in the same room, she'll walk straight out, unless we're watching something that we both like. But now, if I'm in a room, she'll tend to stay in the room.
One of the reasons you came to talk with me was about strong feelings of anger and upset, and so how's that been as well? Because I think, are they still around?
Some of them are going, but most of them are still there, but they're a lot weaker than they were.
What about times when things are not so good and perhaps not so positive?
Sometimes I start shouting still, and then if I say something that is wrong, my mum will then shout back and tell me to stay away from her because she doesn't like what I'm saying, and if I don't have something good to say, then just don't say nothing.
If you were your mum for a moment, and your mum was you, how do you think you would behave if your son was frustrated like that?
Not too sure, because it's like I'm not used to being... I've never really thought about being a parent,
right.
Sort of thing.
Yeah. How old are you now?
11.
11, so you've got time to wait, hopefully. But can we just imagine, just for a moment, can you just sort of play act it a little bit and imagine what it might be like? What would you want from your mum in that situation?
Like her to give me like more like time on my own, and then after that I would like her to come and like sit with me and try and ask what the problem is, right. Sort of thing.
I tell all of my children that I love them before they go to bed. Every night I give them a kiss and tell them how much I love them. But maybe I don't say it enough. Maybe that time just before they go to bed isn't enough. And maybe Daryl thinks that I don't. You know, because me and Daryl do have really horrible arguments. When Daryl's sitting there telling me how much he hates me and that he doesn't love me and that he wants to live with other people, and I kind of, you know, I have said to him, do you know, sometimes I really hate you, and, you know, if you really want to go and live with someone, you go and live with them. Go into school and tell them you don't want to live with me and let them take you away from me. So sometimes maybe I'm not doing what a mum is supposed to do, and kind of not say those kind of things to your child, you know, when they're saying these horrible things to you. Maybe I'm supposed to just take it and grin and bear it. But it's kind of hard, you know, when you've got a child that's throwing all these really nasty things at you. It's kind of hard not to say nasty things back, because I do love him and he's the most important thing in my life. You know, him and his brother and his sisters, they're the most important thing in my life, and I'd do anything for them. And, you know, although I say things, there's no way I'd let that child go out of my life. He's mine and Darren's, you know, and he's a part of my family.
In fishing, I like it because you have to be patient, and it's like me and my dad is father and son time. Can you do it for me then? But sometimes it can get really annoying because one day you won't catch nothing, the next day you'll catch loads. It's quite fun because it's just if we get bored, we start like just talking about anything, like really random. Sometimes we just sit there, and then when the alarm goes or something, one of us would just jump up, and then sometimes we jump up at the same time, and then we're like, oh, who wants to take it, me or you? And then I let him, because he's got stronger arms, because he's fished for ages, he knows everything about it.
Everyone's pulling together to try and resolve the issues surrounding Daryl's behaviour. Danny has arranged a session involving Daryl's parents, Lisa and Darren, but someone is reluctant to take part.
Daryl, if you want to join us at any point, that's okay, and we can hear you, so you can interrupt us if you need be. But what I'd like you to do is just take some self-responsibility for how you think and feel, because I think that's really important, because I'm not quite sure how you're hearing the information from your parents, yeah? Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. I think for the parents, they just need some support about their communication as well, and to aid their communication and get again more of their emotional language, I think, is being misheard or misunderstood in the relationship to their children, and it's in that area I think that the whole family needs some further support, really. Using the word I, what you think and feel about his style of parenting.
Okay, I feel that your parenting is kind of too soft. I don't feel that you're strict enough. And I want you to just sometimes take control of the situation. I feel irritated. I feel like I'm alone. I feel like I might as well just not have you there. God, that's really hard, isn't it?
That's really... Just stay with it for a moment. Breathe if you...
Okay.
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 Are you able to respond to that?
Yeah, I think that your style of parenting is good. You're doing a great job of it and that, but I think that you need to chill out more and be laid back a little bit more. You know, just little petty things that the kids do. Just let them get away with little things like that.
I just feel like I have to take control of everything.
But you don't. You don't have to take control of everything all the time.
I know I don't. I know.
Can you?
I just find it hard.
Right.
I find it hard not to.
Yeah. Can you hear that Lisa's saying that it's difficult?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I do understand the way that you're feeling. And I will try to support you a lot more, you know, but we need to work it together, really.
Schools tend to work better with the behavioural difficulties once they know what the problems are. So in that respect, the primary mental health worker is feeding back to school the progress of the case and how it's going, while at the same time perhaps making recommendations to the school.
Danny's very good at being able to, through his discussions with staff or with the senior manager, open the teacher's eyes a little bit more to the child. His professional way is useful and helpful to a teacher or a teaching assistant. We can see things in a different way to how it is in the classroom or the school environment, purely because he's that little bit more knowledgeable.
Can you put up your hand who has not made a friendship bracelet? Let me see.
I think what you learn is that actually a lot of the things that happen to children are the reasons behind why they're not working or they're not motivated or they're disruptive isn't because that they've just come into your classroom and decided that morning, oh well, I'll poke the person sitting next to me. It's because they're trying to show you that there's something wrong. And it's up to teachers to actually pick up on those sort of small messages that children are giving you that are saying, oh, hang on a minute, not everything's happy with me.
Been quite frustrated.
Back at school, Danny and Daryl have some unfinished business to resolve.
Explain to me a little bit more about how you feel when you're bored. What is it like with your mum at that time?
It's like I get really angry because I don't have nothing to do and I'm like, I get frustrated and start gripping my fists.
Yeah, you're doing that now.
Yeah, and
yeah.
like...
So hold your fists like that for a moment for me and just sort of, what's it, and then let go. What's that like?
It feels really funny because when I grip it, it makes me go strong inside. My stomach starts to rumble when I get like angrier than I'm supposed to because it's like really frustrating. I don't really think what I'm going to do, and as soon as something comes into my head, I'll do it.
Right, so you just sort of do it really, really quickly. Okay, so what we need to be able to do with this is sort of help you understand a little bit about what be happening inside you. Is there, if you hold your fists now and try and imagine, if you clench your fists now and then try to imagine what it's like sometimes when you feel angry at home, what might be the sort of things that you would like wish to say to your mum but can't say to your mum?
It was like, I've always wanted to say that I love my mum to her properly, but it's like I get really nervous and like I start to worry a lot. So then I tend not to say it that often.
Yeah, how are you feeling now that you've said what you said?
I'm feeling a bit happier than I was because it's out of my mind a lot now. It isn't such a big issue in my mind now, it's just cleared.
Right. So this evening, see if you can make an appointment with your mum and your dad if you wish, just to talk about your experiences at school. Yeah?
Yeah.
I think that'd be really, really useful.
As they were going round on the little car sort of things.
Wow.
It helped quite a bit because I knew what I should do to show respect to my mum and what I could do to make her a bit happier than what she actually is.
Is that the Princess Castle?
Yeah.
So what, do you have to go through that castle to get in there?
No, it's like there's a gate and there's like loads of rides next to it and then...
I think that Daryl's trying to find a way to say to his mother that he loves her and that love needs to be reciprocated.
Did you have midnight snacks?
Yep.
Did you?
I haven't said it, but I've proved that I do in just using my actions and stuff. I haven't said it because I don't feel confident enough.
So you had loads of fun?
Yep.
Go back again?
Sometimes, maybe.
You got on with all the teachers and that?
Yep.
Did you miss me?
I would describe her as a really good mum. I just want to say that I feel really happy living with her because she's done a lot for us, and I just I wouldn't feel comfortable with anyone else, even though I did say, but I just really appreciate it because she's helped us a lot and she's got into it as much as I have and she's tried her hardest. Felt quite upset and that I didn't try enough, so I thought that I would write her a card to make it better for her, and it proved that I did try at least to tell her.
One night I'd had a bad day with Daryl. We'd had an argument and I just wanted to go to bed early. I went upstairs and I went to get my pyjamas on and they were under my pillow. And as I went under my pillow, there was a card from Daryl. And on the front of it, it said that he had something to say to me. And I kind of opened it and inside it says that the thing that he finds hard to say to me is that he loves me. And in big letters it had "I love you" with it written underneath.
I wrote that it was really hard because we never got on, and it was the easiest way to say it in a way because it was really scary telling her in front of people, and if we had a bad time we would clash and then it would make it even worse.
Wow, this is a beautiful one. Yeah, they have. I have that one. Yeah, really.
If the child is happier, and you do see that, it's sometimes, or the child is able to say to you that they feel they've changed in some way and that their friendships are better, or they're enjoying things at school in a way that they didn't before. If the family's able to tell you that they feel relationships are better at home and that they understand that behaviour is sometimes a way of expressing feeling, which is not always the case with families and with teachers, then you feel that there's hope.
I think if children can have the opportunity to sort out some of the problems now at primary age and be aware of their emotions and the challenges that life does present, I think that they can be a little bit more equipped when they move on to secondary school and into adult life itself.
Summer's almost over, and Daryl is about to reach one of childhood's most important milestones, the move from primary to secondary school.
I'm feeling quite happy because everything's going normally and no one's getting hurt as much, and everyone's just trying to be as fun as possible.
I think that for me, I feel that Daryl's got a future in education because he knows something about how to negotiate the system. He's one of the children I feel that's advantaged by the current system. His difficulty will be if his emotional difficulties within his family encroach more and more on his ability to think and use his skills in school. Otherwise, I would feel that I have a sort of a bright future for Daryl. I think that once he's able to manage these emotional difficulties at home, I think he'll thrive.
I think things will go really well because me and my mum get on a lot better, so it caused the family to get on a lot better, and we just try our hardest, and then things will go according to plans.
Bye, Mum. All right, mate, I'll see you later. Have a good day, yeah?
Yeah.
Be good. No. Have a good day, yeah? Have fun.
Is there anything you want to say to him on camera?
I know that I love him, and he knows I love him, and I'm very proud of him.